Hi Homeworthy, I'm Law. Welcome to my home in LA. Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Be sure to visit our website, homeworthy.com, to discover amazing furniture, art, accessories, and more, all handpicked by our editors to help transform your house into a home. All of the items are inspired by the episodes you see here on Homeworthy. Enjoy!
I'm Elizabeth Law, I go by Law, and this is my home in Los Angeles. This house was built in 1923. It was a part of the Hollywoodland development, and it was alleged to be one of the first. I heard one of the first, actually the third house built in Hollywoodland. I don't know if that's true, but it was certainly one of the first ones. I found some really awesome old photos where, there was tons of space between each house. When the development was built, there were, I believe, 3 options of architectural styles, one of them being Spanish. So this is kind of quintessential Hollywoodland. It's in Beechwood Canyon, right under the Hollywood sign. So when I saw this house for the first time, I walked through the gate into this courtyard, and I absolutely was struck by the entry, the architecture, the whole thing, and it really did feel, it was exactly what I was looking for in every way. The outside, inside thing for Los Angeles is just perfect. Having this much space in this neighborhood was unexpected. So it felt like home immediately. This is Luna. She's gonna be joining us today, I believe. And welcome. This is the foyer. This is the first room that you enter in the house, and I have some of my favorite things here right upon entry. I've got these Spanish chairs that I got from a friend. This sculpture is actually by Angelica Houston, and she gave this to me. It's one of my favorites. She makes these little women, and I think they're just fabulous. This is also a family gift. A friend, painter John Alexander, his lily pads are my favorite. I always do this round mirror or a big mirror in the entry because it's a lot of impact and people tend to like that. So no, this space is sort of weirdly, this is actually used to sit in. So no, it wasn't a hard space. It is an odd space for sure because there's arches, on every wall almost. So. But no, it's just a good catch-all, really. And next is the living room. So this room is where there's lots of hang time, very cozy, tons of seating, and it's just a collection of old, new things that I've found along the way. I've got brutalist, I've got deco, I've got something from India. This fireplace was sponge painted gold when I bought this house. So I painted it white, and I got the Talavera tile, which is very era appropriate Spanish. And I tiled it myself, so don't look too closely because it is far from perfect, but at least it looks better. This is my newest prized possession. It's a painting by Martha Manns. I got it at a gallery in Santa Fe. Santa Fe in particular holds a very special place to me. So this is called Dangerous Beauties, and it is cactus flower, and I think it is just so fabulous. This rug is actually the first thing that I bought as an adult for my apartment when I was 21 or so, like a big grown-up purchase, which was really exciting. Oh, another thing I was going to show you. This, I've gotten a lot of art at estate sales because it's just a great place to find things that you wouldn't have expected. And this painting, I did not realize, was actually by Janet Gaynor, who was the first woman to win an Academy Award at the first ceremony. the first ceremony. So I thought it was so cool because this is about the time when this house was built. So, you know, whenever I can find little historical elements like that, I try to incorporate it. These chairs were just a fun thing that has an interesting story because I found them on an auction, didn't buy them. About a year later, they popped up on eBay, and they're without question the same chairs. So I ended up getting them, and I found an old postcard in them. I don't know where it is, but there was a postcard just shoved in there that was from like 1925, and it was a thank you note from someone written in Swedish. So that was kind of cool. So the hardwood floors are original. What they did in probably the 80s, which was a popular thing, they wanted to make the skinny wood look like bigger, wider planks. So they made these weird grooves in them, which is a shame because it really dates it, but that they are original floors for sure. And these arches, you know, very Spanish. The beams, very Spanish. I did just have them stained because they had been stained a red to kind of do this more mid-century thing, which just wasn't right for the house. So I had them stained back, but they are real, you know, redwood beams that's what everything was made out of back then. I have books upon books upon books. A lot of them, most of them are art or design related. This is a new one that I just got, which is really cool, woman made. It has also like every female designer in history. Santa Fe, of course, and then over here, more books. I have quite a collection of interior design and artists. So this tea set I actually got in Morocco when I was 10 with my dad. We were in Portugal on a family trip, which I credit also with being highly influential in my design aesthetic with those, you know, Mediterranean style houses. And my dad came up with a plan then and there that when everybody turned 10, we would go on an individual dad-child trip, and we went to Morocco. We drove there way before GPS, so I had a map and, you know, shotgun, and we made our way down there. So I bought that when I was 10 years old. We drove from Portugal through Spain to, you know, the ferry and took a ferry over to Morocco. You know, I have two of these candelabras. They are antique and they were gifts, so I unfortunately don't know that much about them, but they're really beautiful, and I love a candle. There are candles everywhere. And these are pretty awesome when it's all lit. When I'm entertaining, I definitely like to put the candles all out and have them all lit. Very vibey in here, but I have also learned the hard way that sometimes too many candles can be a problem. So it depends on the kind of party I'm having. These old plaster homes are really well made for climate, honestly. So while we'll get a lot of sun coming through this side of the room in the afternoon, which is also very fun because my disco ball in about, I don't know, an hour will be all over the space, which is very fun. But honestly, the heat is not so much of a problem in here because it's just so well insulated because of the way this house is built, which is amazing given that it is 100 years old. These right here are some mid-century pendant lights that were given to me by a family friend who I actually apprenticed with before I went to Parsons. So I kind of shadowed her, worked with her for maybe 9 months or so, and she gave these to me probably when I was actually in college. And so they have moved all over the place with me since then, and I love them. So another great thing about this living room are the original windows and doors. This room has 2 sets of French doors that go straight outside of the courtyard. So let's have a look. This house is a little over 2,000 square feet. It technically is 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, but I've kind of reconfigured things to have different purposes for my use in this house. So my personal style is definitely eclectic. I think it leans in the Spanish and sort of old world vibe. When I was looking for a house to buy, I had all of that in mind. What I already had really works. So it's eclectic. I have Art Deco, I have brutalist, I have, you know, Gothic Spanish, I have contemporary pieces, I have family heirlooms. So it really is a mix. So this is my courtyard. It is a perfect place to have an alfresco meal. It's really peaceful up here in Beechwood Canyon, so it's often very, very quiet, which is amazing. I've done very little to the outside space because it's just, the original house is exactly as it should be. I've done some of the planting and of course the disco ball. I spent a good amount of time out here because the weather in LA just allows you to be outside. We're in January and it is perfect out. So we spend a lot of time out here, lots of meals out here, and I have a seating arrangement that's, you know, with fire pit and all, so that it can also be used as sort of your outdoor living space. The awnings in the house are not original to the house. The previous owners would have put them in, but I kept them because they really work. It sort of gives a hotel vibe too, which is fun. I wish I had a green thumb. I sure try. My parents are really good at it. I am not. At the moment, nothing's really flowering. I did put a lot of flowers in, but it's just not the season. I have gardenias, which we have at the farm back home in South Carolina, so that's really nice because the fragrance of them is so nostalgic for home. I planted an orange tree and a lot of succulents. It's just to kind of fill it in a little bit because this is all mostly hardscape. So the fun thing about the courtyard too is that the house is really situated around it. So this would be a bedroom, that's another bedroom, that's the dining room, and then of course the living room. So it's all very central around this space, which is really nice for indoor-outdoor living. So that is the lovely courtyard, and now I'll show you the rest of the house. Both of my parents are pretty creative people, and my mother was a designer before she had kids. So my childhood certainly influenced my design. I don't know that where I came from is so much an influence as how I was brought up. We traveled a lot. For instance, I have a tea set here in the living room that I got when I was 10 on a trip to Morocco. So I have a lot of influence that comes from all over. Before we check out the dining room, I want to show you something really quick. It's the powder room. I haven't done too much in here since I bought the house, except the wallpaper and the light fixtures, which was really important to me. A powder room is always my jewel box moment in a house. Love wallpaper, especially when it shows flora. So this, along with the light fixtures, really brought it back to sort of an old world feeling that I thought was missing in this space. And it's fun, like a fun departure from the rest of the house. And then this space is just a great little vestibule with this beautiful carved mirror that I still just am so excited about. It's really super beautiful, Spanish as well. And there's this, you know, more indoor-outdoor living. There's this very sweet Juliet balcony that looks out over the backyard. When I moved to Los Angeles in my early 20s, I actually worked in music. I wanted to be a music manager. That was the dream. And so I did work in music for a while, but I always found myself, you know, redesigning my own place. Friends would call me to come over and do theirs. So it was really a hobby that was taking up a lot of my time, and I enjoyed it so much. So, and the music thing just wasn't really what I had fantasized that it would be. So I went to the East Coast for a little bit before I went to school in New York, and I apprenticed under a good family friend who's an interior designer. I worked with her for under a year, but it was really informative and useful. And so then I went up to New York and went to Parsons and did their interior design program, which was amazing. And going back to school was such a different experience than just being an undergrad. So that was very valuable. And I kind of launched from there through word of mouth, friends of friends, and so on, and just kind of jumped. And now let's check out the dining room. So now we're in the dining room, and one of the first things I was able to do when I bought this house was take out the ceiling fan that was once above the dining table. So I found this beautiful brutalist iron chandelier from France, and it's super unique, fits the space so well, especially over the round table. So that made a big impact in this room. Another thing that was odd was that these beams had been faux finished in like a purple and green faux wood something or other. So that I obviously had to get rid of as well, and kind of just pared it down and brought it back to just being a more simple space. Again, I have lots of just found collected things. This mirror right here is a family heirloom from my grandmother, so that's very, very special. This piece of art over on this side of the room, my brother went on a backpacking trip throughout Asia, and this is actually on linen. So he had this, and he knows that I love elephants. So this is an elephant ink drawing, I suppose, on a piece of linen. So he had it all folded up in his backpack for months and brought it back to me, which is very sweet. So I have that framed, and this room gets a lot of use. I love a round dining table. It really allows for better conversation. Everyone's included. I kind of need a bigger one, but here we are. Another balcony here, which is super sweet. It opens up completely, and then you can also go into the kitchen through a little tiny door on that side. And we're looking right over into an old avocado tree, which is so nice. It really feels like you're just tucked away in a tree house in here. So this piece is actually a friend of mine. She, when I was moving into this house, my friend has a lot of stuff just sitting in storage, and this is her grandmother's, and she couldn't stand that it was in storage, knew that I had the space for it, and so we just have sort of a agreement that it's going to sit here until she needs it one day. But it's really great. It's a beautiful piece, gets a lot of use. So I collect a good bit of china. I have all sorts. I love a pretty decorated table, and these are one of the newest additions from my mom. It's such a fun collection. They're very fancy on the outside, really ornate, and then they have this wild sort of Day of the Dead theme in the middle, and they're really fun. So I love to have dinners. I love to have formal dinners. When friends come over, they know it's like put on your best dress. So I dress it up. I've got vintage crystal that my mom gave me. I've got, china and things that I've collected along the way. So I really love to deck it out. Love flowers, candles, and everything. So it's really, art in itself. So this bench has kind of a catch-all of things. I've got a lot of family photos, people from both sides of the family, much older grandmother shots, great-grandfather shots, and so on. And just things that I've collected along the way. I've got these daggers. I have this beautiful little toothpick holder that is Art Deco and super, super dainty. I love this so much. Yeah, and just things that I found along the way. And this right here is a kimono. It just felt like something that needs to be on the wall and not just hanging in a closet. So I did just that. It's so beautiful with all the colors and everything. So I treat it like a piece of art. Before we move into the kitchen, I'll point out these gates here. They were actually in when I bought the house, but I think that they're perfect. So I kept them there, especially for the dog when you're in the kitchen and busy. It's a wonderful little break instead of having a solid door. I entertain a lot. I love to cook. I love to have this house just absolutely jammed with friends. So this house is really great. It's not huge, but it does have a really big outside area. So from the living room, there are 2 pairs of French doors that open right into the courtyard. And so there's just flow that's super easy. I have dinner parties often. I do a dinner series in the courtyard because I really, really love the energy that happens when you have a lot of people milling about, conversation, music, and all that. So this is the kitchen, and instead of doing a, breakfast table, which is kind of what this would have called for, I have this enormous piece of furniture, which I got in Santa Fe actually, and it was just perfect for the space. So I use it as another kind of china cabinet and everything like that because this kitchen does not have a lot of storage. So it's perfect for this wall, and honestly the only wall in the house it could have fit on. So there it is. And this photograph is like a paint bomb, which I bought ages ago and has come with me everywhere, but it has a lot of impact and people often ask me about it. It's really funny, but I do love it. It's fun. And then as for the rest of the kitchen, it's not original, unfortunately, although a lot of people think it is. One of the first things I did when I moved here, my mom came out to visit and we painted the kitchen. So all of the cabinets were just like 80s wood, and we painted it with this Pharaoh and ball color, which is really nice, kind of made the space more handsome and felt a little bit fresher. The kitchen, despite my best Efforts is where everybody gathers. So it's a great space. I can't wait to renovate it one day. One day I'll do that. One of my favorite things about this kitchen though is where the sink is situated here with all these windows. It's just so nice. Again, feels like I'm up in the trees. I do have the original drawings of the house, and from what I can tell, this area behind me used to be like a breakfast room itself. So it was completely separate from the rest of the kitchen, which is so funny to me. But I love the layout of it. It's nice. These chandeliers are 20s French. I love them so much. I put these in most of the light fixtures in this house I've changed because they had been kind of updated here and there over time. So these were a beautiful pair, and they really add a lot of character to this space. So this kitchen, while it's not original, the tile countertop sort of lends itself to the time. There's debate on whether tile, stone, or even chopping block is a better surface for a kitchen. I really like the tile, especially because it is sort of true to the era. When I do eventually renovate this kitchen, I will do a tile for sure, just because it's just appropriate for the time. Something marble and terribly contemporary just wouldn't really feel right to me. So this kitchen is very much lacking in storage, and it's lacking in upper cabinetry, obviously. So I put these in, which is a great little easy solution for glassware in particular, because that's kind of what's being grabbed more than anything. Plus it helps fill out this wall in a way that makes sense. So I actually made this little skirt, and it is covering up the dishwasher, which I thought was, could be more attractive. So it was just really for fun in the beginning, but I've grown to love it, and the fabric itself fits so well in the space in terms of color and tone, so it stayed. And this kitchen is great because I cook a lot, and so when friends are over, they can sit over there, I'm over here, I've got everything kind of at the ready. This kitchen gets a lot of use. So I am very much ready to leave the open floor plan thing behind. I like having separate spaces. It feels more intimate when you're in the space. It feels like you can kind of tuck things away. For instance, if you're cooking, you can kind of leave the mess behind and go and enjoy yourself. So I like that this house feels like every room is a designated space, but at the same time, it is still somewhat open because it's arches. It's not, closed doors. So it kind of, and the way that the house is positioned gives you sort of both, if that makes sense. The original owners did a lot of renovation in the 80s and 90s. So what I've seen in the original drawings, which I'm very lucky to have, there are definitely some details that have gone away over the years. So something that we do still have that's original are the beams. Quintessential, Spanish home. The arches are all original. The footprint is original for sure. And there's one bathroom that is original to the 20s with all the tile and the tub and everything. So what I'm intending to do while here is bring a lot of the original era appropriate, tile, kitchen style, all that back to the house. So I'm doing that slowly. The fireplace is an example of that. It had been sponge painted gold when I moved into this house, and they'd even hidden the niche behind a painting. So I took the painting away, I painted the thing white, and I tiled it myself with Talavera tile just to kind of get that Spanish appropriate tile back in the mix because it had kind of all been erased. So the bedrooms are conveniently right off of the kitchen. This whole area is, bedrooms, bath, and so on. Come on in. So yeah, this is the only built-in left really in this house. This would have been very typical at the time because there wasn't a whole lot of storage and closet space. So these are old. I use them as a linen closet. It's very convenient and nice, and I would always keep something that's original if I can. So that's perfect. And then through here is the original bathroom from the 20s. So this bathroom, for the most part, is original. The tile, the tub, I think the sink even, and it's great, so I would keep it always, just because these places are fewer and further between these days. What this would have been is the shared bathroom between 2 bedrooms. And nowadays it's really not conducive to our modern lifestyle, but honestly, this bathroom isn't that big, so I wouldn't really do anything differently, and it would just kill me to interrupt anything original. So I'm just gonna keep it the way it is for now. So this is an original, I'm guessing, intercom of some sort. It says living room and chambers, which is funny. I'm gonna stay there as well because that's just so interesting. And over here are the 2 bedrooms. This is the one that is currently used as a bedroom. So yeah, this is my bedroom. It's a sweet little room. When I got the house, there was actually like a 80s closet that went across, and it had, you know, floor to ceiling mirrors on the door, sliding doors. So I took it out to give myself more space. The light in here is wonderful. I like a room to just be really minimal and peaceful and clean and quiet. So there's not much else in here other than sort of the necessities. So this painting I got at an estate sale in LA, and I got it for, you know, not very much money at all. And it turns out I did a lot of research into the artist by his last name, and it was a really interesting backstory. So I feel very grateful to have it in my space. And this Suzani fabric I got in Santa Fe, and I just have it draped over the headboard for now. It kind of moves around. It's a little pop of color and pattern that has had many lives. And this rug, gosh, I don't even remember where I got it from, but I like that it's, you know, flat weave, that it's very neutral, and I put this in by myself, which was insane. I moved the bed, I moved the rug. I cannot believe I did not injure myself, but man, when I put my mind to something, I will do it. And that was one of those things. But it's really, it works tonally. It just kind of gives a little excitement to the room. This home is really special because the area is very quiet, it's very peaceful. We're right up against Griffith Park, so there's a lot of nature. I feel like I'm just tucked away here. The indoor-outdoor element, I can just have all the windows and doors open, and it's just really peaceful, and it feels like it's, I mean, it is from a different time, and you can really feel that here. You know, walking into the courtyard, you could also be anywhere. You could be in Europe in a totally different time. So that's what I really love about it. It's the history and the flow, and it gets great light. And then my dressing room is next. So this is my dressing room, come in, which is a bedroom, but for my purposes, since I'm here by myself and there's not a closet in the bedroom, I just converted this into a dressing room, which is pretty wonderful. And let's see, what do I have in here that's fun? This is one of my favorite. It's a vintage jacket from New Mexico that is real special. So this is one of my favorite pieces that I have in here. I have my dress up pieces because we need those here in Los Angeles. And then this piece I've had for so long. Again, the family friend who I worked for as an apprentice early on, she gave this to me when I first went away to school. So this has moved with me. It's been recovered a million times, and I think it is just so elegant, and I love it, and there's no better place for it to be than in a dressing room. I love decorating my own home because it's such a natural thing to do. However, the difference between me decorating my own home and decorating for a client is that it's never ending. It is a constant evolution. I'm always buying new things, fitting new stuff in. So it's not quite the same, and as a perfectionist, it will probably never be finished. But I do love it. I mean, I absolutely love collecting things on travels and just, you know, along the way. The word home to me is a sanctuary. It's where you feel safe. It's where you have sort of the story of you. It's the things you've collected. It's the things that you enjoy. To me, a home is an expression of the person.
Thanks for watching. Go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content and shopping guides.